Coming up, Donald Trump becomes the first former president ever with a mugshot.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Donald Trump is headed back to his New Jersey golf club after posting bond at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta. The former president surrendered to authorities tonight on felony charges that he conspired to overturn the 2020 presidential election results in Georgia. CBS's Christian Benavidez is outside the jail with the latest.
Donald Trump departed Atlanta Thursday evening after a motorcade took him to the Fulton County Jail. There, he was booked on 13 felony charges for his alleged efforts to reverse his 2020 election loss in Georgia.
What has taken place here is a travesty of justice.
Inside the jail, he posted a $200,000 bond, was fingerprinted, and a first for a former U.S. president, had his mugshot taken.
I got Kool-Aid here for you.
Outside the jail, there were some Trump critics, but a larger group of supporters.
He's being persecuted.
The charges stem from this January 2nd, 2021 conversation with Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger.
I just want to find 11,780 votes.
You should be able to challenge an election. I thought the election was a rigged election.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis asked the judge to set a trial date of October 23rd. The Trump legal team has already objected to that date, essentially saying they're not looking for a speedy trial.
For Trump, I think it is helpful to delay. For other people, that might not be the case.
All 19 defendants in this case were given until noon on Friday to surrender. Several have already shown up, including Trump's former personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, and Trump's former White House chief of staff, Mark Meadows. The Fulton County prosecution is the fourth criminal case against Trump, the Republican frontrunner in the 2024 presidential campaign. Christian Benavidez, CBS News, Atlanta.
The entire process with Trump at the jail took less than 30 minutes.
Well, a first alert weather day does continue across the mountains as we close out your Thursday, also moving into your Friday, because we are watching out for more heat and possibly more storm chances to close out your work week. Temperatures right now, though, are mild in the middle to upper 70s, even lower 80s for Monticello, also Lexington, 77 for Jackson, 76 in London, also over in Pikeville at this hour. And temperatures tonight, they are mild and muggy in the middle to lower 70s as you wake up on Friday, and the potential for more 90s by Friday afternoon. Up on the radar right now, we are dry. That will continue as we go into tonight, but again, that could change by tomorrow as more storm chances are possible. So a busy forecast on the way on your Friday. Temperatures possibly in the middle 90s, those heat index values possibly in the lower 100s, but again, a few more showers and storms that may bring some heat relief for some areas before some cooler and drier air by next week. A little preview of fall by Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. We've had pretty normal summer temperatures this week. Tomorrow will, though, be a steamy one. The heat index could hit the triple digits in some parts of Kentucky. That could be dangerous for those working outdoors. Meteorologist Ben Beddoes talked to a Hazard native and shows us how roofers are planning to get through it.
The summer months are known to bring hot temperatures and sometimes dangerous heat. It's been pretty hot all week, but the heat has gone to a new level at the end of this week. Roofers monitor weather conditions closely.
In the middle of the day, when it's the hottest, that's when you take more of the breaks, just simply because the heat can get unbearable on the roof. It can be 40, 50 degrees hotter on the roof than it is the ambient temperature outside, so it can be unbearable up there.
When temperatures reach 90 degrees, roof surfaces can top 150 degrees.
In the hottest part of the day, you have to be careful walking on them, and when it really gets that hot, you have to slow down or stop. And it can be just as detrimental to the roof to install it when it's too hot outside as it can be when it's too cold outside.
The best thing to do is pick a different time of the day.
Most of the time we're on the roofs by 7 a.m. and come midday, if it's not safe to be up there, and if it's going to damage the shingles, if the guys are You know, it's easy to get dizzy on a roof, that sort of thing. If you're not hydrated, it's too hot, then you just stop and you resume working when it's safe again.
I'm meteorologist Ben Beddoes, WKYT.
School leaders in southern Kentucky say they have plans to deal with the heat during the next few days, from water on buses to delayed athletic start times. Leaders say they are closely monitoring what happens to keep students safe. School leaders say sports is a big concern, but they are following KHSAA guidelines when it comes to what the heat index is showing. Somerset has practiced in the mornings before school, and others have delayed start times or not worn as much gear in practice.
And modify a schedule or whatever we need to do to make sure the students are safe, you know, when they're participating in those activities.
Educators say they are also monitoring recess and the amount of time smaller children are outside and may have more of those activities in more shaded areas. Kentucky colleges and universities are making sure students are safe and healthy. This as the country sees an uptick in COVID. And COVID isn't the only illness going around. Strep, flu, and the common cold are also spreading. We talked with a health leader at Eastern Kentucky University in Richmond who says the university is following CDC guidelines if a student gets COVID.
We've become very well experienced at monitoring and tracking illnesses, as many of our other public higher education counterparts have. We take it very, very seriously, and we certainly encourage our students to take advantage of our student health services on campus.
In a statement, University of Kentucky officials say they highly encourage all available vaccinations for faculty, staff, and students, including COVID and flu. They are no longer mandating COVID vaccines or testing. Jacob's Ladder is working with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The partners packed 40,000 pounds of frozen meat and butter into the Floyd County Food Pantry today, serving hundreds of families in the surrounding area, showing what organizers called an obvious need.
And the need is there. You can see it here today. With prices going up on everything, this is such a blessing to our little pantry.
The pantry is located on Main Street in Allen and provides food to those in need monthly. State officials released the latest information on unemployment rates in Kentucky. The Kentucky Center for Statistics looked at jobless claims between July 2022 and July of this year. Unemployment rose in 98 counties. Rates fell in 17 counties and stayed the same in 5. Martin County saw the state's highest rate of unemployment at 10.5%. Magoffin County was close behind. Kentucky's unadjusted unemployment rate for the state was 4.6%. We are 2 weeks away from when retail sports betting kicks off in Kentucky. Businesses and racetracks across the state are finalizing details on their own plans after 17 licenses were approved this week by the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission. Each location will have bet and jet parking, allowing you to run in and out and place a bet in less than 15 minutes. While retail sports betting will kick off on September 7th, online sports betting will go live on September 28th. The new Neon City Hall in Letcher County will not only house the mayor's office, but other services like their police department. Neon City officials made the move to the old Carty Funeral Home building, which is next to the Neon Volunteer Fire Department. The Neon Police Chief says despite the move, they have struggled filling open positions.
Years ago, if you put out that you were looking for a police officer, you would have, you know, even in a small town like this, we'd have 100 applicants. Now, if we're lucky, we'll get 10 or 15 applicants.
He says there are 2 officers, including himself, on staff at the police department. Governor Andy Beshear announced nearly $3.5 million in funding for road projects across the state. Here in Eastern Kentucky, 12 projects were approved in 9 counties. You can see a list of those on WYMT.com. For folks in Laurel County, you may be familiar with the Party Palace. The entertainment space was at one location for 14 years. Now, as WYMT's Keaton Hall shows us, the Party Palace is losing the party in its name, but is adding a whole lot more.
From 18 lanes of bowling to indoor go-karts, you'll be hard-pressed to find similar attractions anywhere else in eastern Kentucky.
Now, this will be the only one between Lexington and Knoxville.
Craig Tincher is the owner of The Palace, a soon-to-be-opened 60,000 square foot entertainment complex on North Main Street in London. And it doesn't stop at bowling and go-karts. The Palace also features 60 arcade games, a restaurant and bar, and laser tag.
The laser tag arena is 2,500 square feet. You can run 2 teams of 12 at each time. And so it's a pretty nice arena in there.
The Palace has been a dream of Tincher's for years, a step up from the Party Palace that he's owned for more than a decade.
The current Party Palace location, we've been there for 14 years, and we've always dreamed of something bigger for our town. And so this building came available about 2 years ago. We started the process of moving in here. Started construction in January, and we're just about finished now.
Providing a big town experience for his small community.
People just can't wait for something like this to come to our small town. Like I said, there's nothing like this between Lexington and Knoxville. Within 100 miles, this place usually is probably to attract people from that area.
Tincher says they hope to open at 5 p.m. next Friday, September 1st. In Laurel County, Keaton Hall, WYMT Mountain News.
Tincher says they also have private bookings for parties available. You can find more information about that on our website. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, a ham auction brings in millions, and some of that money is coming to eastern Kentucky.
Plus, we are watching out for more heat and spotty storm chances on Friday. Those details coming up next.